Chapter 25 Emergence. Kevin's pursuit of the cherry blossom trail mirrored the desperation of a cocaine addict grasping for their next fix. Gripping the steering wheel tightly with one hand and clutching the crimson katana in the other, he felt an insatiable hunger to reach his destination, consumed by the singular purpose of following the ethereal path. Blinded by obsession, everything else in Kevin's world faded into insignificance. Time lost meaning as he raced down the road, his heart pounding with anticipation and his mind clouded by a mixture of adrenaline and longing. The white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel symbolized his relentless determination, driving him forward despite any rationality or concern for the consequences that lay ahead. The charm of the cherry blossoms was intoxicating, their delicate petals acting as a guide, leading him deeper into the night. Each turn of the wheel brought him closer to his destination, a destination he believed held answers and the justice he sought. In his darkened pursuit, Kevin's senses were heightened, his focus razor-sharp. The katana, a symbol of power and potential retribution, served as both his guiding light and a dangerous weapon in his hands. It represented a twisted connection, a bond that fueled his actions, blurring the lines between right and wrong. As the road stretched out before him, Kevin's determination grew stronger with every passing mile. He had become a vessel of singular purpose, propelled forward by an uncontrollable urge, sacrificing everything in pursuit of the unknown. Kevin had now become a slave to his desires, his actions propelled by an addiction-like craving for resolution. The consequences of his choices were distant echoes, drowned out by the roaring intensity of his pursuit. The road stretched on, and Kevin became more consumed by the cherry blossoms, pressed on relentlessly. Little did he know that the path he treaded would lead him to the precipice of his own self-discovery, where the true nature of his connection with the crimson katana and the consequences of his actions awaited him. The blossom trail led him to a large building where he quickly stopped and exited his truck. Kevin now stood outside the large building alongside a sign that read, "State Corrections Halfway House," his grip tightening around the crimson katana, as if it were an extension of his own being. The end of the cherry blossom trail had led him here, to this place of potential justice and retribution. With a determined stride, Kevin entered the building, his senses heightened and the cherry blossoms swirling around him like an ethereal dance. He sought out the man he had visions of committing heinous acts, his heart pounding with a mix of anticipation. As Kevin approached the man's room, a shroud of darkness began to descend upon him. The once vibrant cherry blossoms turned sinister, their petals morphing into an ominous black hue. It was as if the very essence of the katana, once a source of power and purpose, had been corrupted, transforming Kevin's world into a nightmarish realm. Gripping the katana tightly, he could feel a surge of power coursing through his veins. But this time, there was an eerie absence of control. As Kevin entered the room, his surroundings seemed to shift. The air thickened with an unsettling aura. The once vibrant cherry blossoms transformed before his eyes, their beauty now tainted by a suffocating darkness. The whispers that had accompanied him in the realm of the samurai echoed once again, insidious voices that reminded him of his previous battles. Confusion and doubt filled Kevin's mind. Hadn't he been defeated? Was my struggle against the samurai a lost cause? The realization that he had unwittingly surrendered himself to the influence of the katana sent shivers down his spine. He had become a mere vessel, a pawn in a game he could no longer control. Helplessly, he watched the transformation unfolding before him, signaling a shift in the balance of power. The facade of justice had twisted into something far more sinister, and Kevin could only bear witness to the darkness that now consumed him. The katana, once a symbol of potential righteousness, had become an instrument of his own demise. All around him, whispers grew louder, merging with the blackened cherry blossoms. Kevin grappled with the realization that he had been lured into a trap. The forces he thought he could wield had turned against him, snaring him in their wicked grip. In this moment of despair, he questioned if his defeat against the samurai had been just the beginning of a far more sinister journey. Caught in the throes of his own powerlessness, Kevin could only watch as the blackened cherry blossoms swirled around him, their once gentle presence now a harbinger of his own descent into darkness. The outcome of his encounter with the sleeping man remained uncertain, as the consequences of his actions and the true purpose of the crimson katana revealed themselves in the shadows. Kevin stared into a nearby mirror. Horror and disbelief washed over him as he witnessed his own transformation. His body twisted and contorted, morphing into the form of a demon masquerading as a samurai. The realization that he had become a vessel for this demonic entity sent chills down his spine. "How did this happen?" Kevin's voice trembled as he voiced his inner turmoil, seeking answers that seemed elusive. Yet, the demon samurai, now in control of his being, responded with sinister satisfaction, his voice dripping with malice. "I knew, even during our previous encounter centuries ago, that my katana would eventually find its way into your hands," the demon sneered, his eyes gleaming with wicked intent. "Makoto, brave as he was, foolishly believed he could defeat me. Little did he know that in his desperate struggle, he unwittingly tore his own soul from his body." The demon's words sent shivers down Kevin's spine. The realization dawned upon him that the spirit of the demon had been forged into the very blade he held. Bound to the katana, the demon's essence had remained intertwined with its lethal metal, waiting for an unsuspecting host to unleash its dark power once more. Kevin's mind raced with a maelstrom of emotions. Betrayed by the promise of justice, he had unknowingly fallen into a trap, becoming a vessel for the very darkness he sought to combat. The katana, once thought to be a force of righteousness, had instead become a conduit for a malevolent being, manipulating Kevin's fate. The demon samurai, reveling in his newfound control, continued to taunt Kevin, relishing the torment he now held over his host. The struggle for control became a battle of wills, as Kevin fought against the overwhelming influence that threatened to consume him entirely. Caught between his own desires and the sinister force that held him captive, Kevin's future hung in the balance. The twisted dance of the demon samurai within his own body was horrifying, and caused him to want nothing but to retreat to the farthest reaches of his own mind to escape. Even more so when he realized the extent of his helplessness. The once beautiful cherry blossoms now formed into black smoke tendrils, dragging the occupants of each room into the hallway. Within minutes, 18 men had been lined up on their knees, held captive in a vice-like grip, their heads forced to bow to one side, leaving them completely at the mercy of the demon samurai. The scene played out like a macabre ritual, with the demon samurai placing the edge of the crimson katana to the first man's neck, applying enough pressure to cut deep into his flesh. Slowly, the demonic samurai began to walk alongside his captives, slowly and deliberately allowing the katana to make contact with each one. Showers of blood spread from each neck as the blade passed, while sounds of laughter echoed throughout the halls. "All crime is punishable by death. Well, no need for a crime, just need to quench the thirst of my blade, and it's thirsty," the demon said, letting out a frighting laugh. Dread washed over Kevin as the demon's voice boomed through the hallway, a chilling proclamation that sent shivers down his spine. "I am Shinigami," the demon declared, his voice echoing with a haunting resonance. The weight of those words hung heavy in the air, carrying an ominous significance. Shinigami, the Japanese word for the god of death, evoked a sense of terror and finality. Kevin's mind raced, trying to comprehend the true nature of the demon he had unknowingly unleashed. He grasped at the fading fragments of his own identity, desperately seeking a way to resist the darkness that threatened to consume him entirely. But with each passing moment, the demon's control over him tightened, leaving Kevin to confront the harsh reality that he had become an instrument of death and despair.